Hey, Facebook, good morning. Good morning, Instagram, LinkedIn, as well as YouTube. As you can see, we are in a different location today. However, it's nice out here. Welcome to the Coaches Cafe, and make sure you share this live out because we're going to be lighting up in a minute. What if the number one cause of death in the United States could be changed? What if 225,000 deaths could be prevented each year? You probably did not know, but every 40 seconds, someone dies within an hour of having a heart attack. So, the conversation I want to have this morning, thank you for joining. The conversation I want to have this morning is what if we have more control of our conditions than we give ourselves credit? I'm Regina Lacking, the founder and chief principal consulting of Doing Life Well Integrative Health, where I help individuals and organizations to prioritize preventable health conditions so that people can do life well. They can just actually live well. And so here I am this morning because it is just alarming to me as I've been continuing this journey of health, continue to share with you what I'm doing this challenge, this weighted vest challenge, this walk-in challenge for July. And what I'm finding is as I'm sharing across the week, I'm getting a lot of messages about people who are struggling in their health with the big four. And the big four, good morning, Dee. Thank you for joining. If you all would let me know where you're joining from, and be sure to share this out. I know y'all love my new background for today, but I'm getting a lot of messages, a lot of DMs, people sharing that they're struggling in their health. They're struggling with what I've identified as the big four. The big four is high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, and they're just struggling with their weight. These are current realities of so many people. And so, what if the over 800,000 people that have heart attacks every year, what if that could be prevented? What if for those of that 805,000 people that have heart attacks every year on average, of that 205,000, that's their second heart attack. Second heart attack. And so, not just your cardiovascular, your heart attacks, I'm getting a lot of feedback or a lot of people sharing that they're struggling with diabetes as well. Let me say this, diabetes, and I'm going to do a whole, talk on this, but diabetes is not a sugar condition. The problem is sugar is not able to filter through your blood. It is being stopped by the saturated fat. I'm saying saturated fat, but it's really being stopped by the fat in your blood cells. And so if you remove the fat, then the sugar can move through, and then it's not showing up in your blood when you take your checking your blood if you have diabetes. Good morning. Thank y'all for joining. Make sure y'all share this. Thank y'all so much for joining. Today we're talking stop blaming your genes. Let's have a practical conversation. And the reality of it is we are losing too many people, too many of our loved ones to chronic health conditions or health conditions that can be prevented. So I want to talk to y'all, have a conversation. And so what if we could do something about it? Drop in the comments if someone you know and or love has had a heart attack, a stroke, or if they have diabetes, or if they're carrying just excess weight that they don't want. I am wanting to just good morning, have a real conversation. I'm outside, y'all. I'm outside taking in this beautiful scenery. I forgot the airport was right by me. But anyway, so let's have a conversation. I want to help you this morning because so many people have been reaching out since we're doing this challenge in July. How can I do something about my diabetes? How can I do something about my high blood pressure? But I want to state the facts first. The facts are we are losing a lot of people unnecessarily. The root cause is not just good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining. The root cause of the big four boils down to a few things. The root cause of the big four boil down to a few things. And we're going to talk about that. So I asked you, what if you could do something to change your condition? Type in the comments, would you do it? If your doctor told you was borderline high cholesterol, which my doctor did tell me that, and I had a choice to do something. And so oftentimes we believe that it's in our genes. We believe that high blood pressure is being passed down. We believe that diabetes is being passed down. We believe that high cholesterol is being passed down. Why do we believe that? We have that belief because our loved ones end up leaving this world, and we knew that they had high blood pressure. She had a heart attack. And then if the grandmother, my grandmother, which she did have diabetes and succumbed to many years on dialysis, then you look at my aunts and uncles who have diabetes, and so you start to think, I'm going to get diabetes. However, type in the comments, however, just because my grandmother had diabetes, just because I have aunts and uncles who have diabetes, just because even my mom had diabetes, but she put in the work and she no longer is on medications for diabetes. So she was able to make some lifestyle changes, and that's what it's all about. Are you willing to make the lifestyle changes? Because this is what we know. Lifestyle conditions are caused by lifestyles, not DNA. Lifestyle conditions are caused by lifestyles. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So here we are. Your family history, yes, it does play a part. It gives you information. That's what I want you to know, is that your family history gives you information to make a decision. So if you have a aunt or an uncle or your grandparents, if somebody left this world as a result of having a heart attack, then instead of saying I'm next, the question is, what can I do? What can I do? Type this in the comments if you're still with me, and thank you all for being here this morning. Type this in the comments. It's not your DNA, it's your diet. And when I say diet, I'm not talking about just what you put in your mouth. I'm talking about your decisions, your influences, your environment, and your thinking. It is truly our daily decisions. It's our daily decisions. We wake up and we make a decision. What am I going to have for breakfast? What am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to have for dinner? What am I going to have in this stressful situation? And so oftentimes we eat according to our moods, not according to our nutritional needs. So today, the truth is, it is not in your genes. And I want us to stop blaming our DNA. That's the nature of the conversation today. If you've ever heard someone say, it's in my DNA, or here's a more common language, it runs in my family. If you've ever heard someone say it runs in my family, I want you to type that in the comment. It's me. I've said it. Or if you've heard someone else say it, it's if you've heard someone else say it runs in my family, I want you to type that in the comments, because let me know if you too have been that person that said that. So I know for sure. I know for sure that family history matters 100%. But let's look at the math. And the math is over 115 million of us are walking around here right now pre-diabetic. Someone is having a heart attack every 40 seconds in this country. If it were purely genetics, those numbers wouldn't keep rising. So it's not a shared gene pool. That's the issue. It's our shared dinner plates. It's our shared recipes. It's the processed foods, and we're going to talk about that today. It is the dairy heavy life that many of us live. I was that way as well. So we pass down everything except fiber rich, low fat, low oil, low sugar recipes, and then we end up with conditions as a result. But here's the good news. That's what we're getting ready to talk about. Here's the good news. The good news. The good news. Type in the comments the good news. Because who wants to be filled with stats? Type in the comments if you want to hear this good news. The good news is that the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, explicitly states that type 2 diabetes and heart disease are largely manageable and preventable. You can change your plate, change your numbers, and break the cycle. If you're willing to change your plate, to change your numbers, to break the cycle, drop it in the comments. I'm ready. Drop in the comments. I am ready. Because those are the facts. The fact is, you have more control over your health outcomes than you give yourself credit for. I want to assure you that DNA is information. Type that in the comments. DNA is simply information. So thank y'all for pulling up this morning. There are 3 everyday habits we are going to share with you. There are 3 everyday habits that if you start to apply these 3 everyday habits in your life, you can change your health outcomes. Number 1, when we're talking about stop blaming your genes, it's going to be very important that we address. I'm outside, y'all. All right. I'm not gonna compete with the airplane, but I decided to come outside this morning since I'm traveling. But there are three everyday habits that matter when we're talking about our chronic lifestyle conditions. Number 1 is nutrition. So type in the comments nutrition. I don't know what your nutrition is or how you show up every day with the choices that you make, but your nutrition matters. Number 2, movement matters. If you're not physically active in your health every single day, doing something, but doing something meaningful like 30 minutes of cardio, 30 minutes of walking about 3 to 5 times a week, you are putting yourself in a position to be at greater risk for one of these cardiac events or to be at greater risk for type 2 diabetes because movement matters. You are putting yourself at risk for high cholesterol, and you're certainly putting yourself at risk if you're not active. You're certainly putting yourself at risk for carrying excess weight. So, number 1, a lifestyle habit that matters is your nutrition. Number 2 is movement. Number 3, stress management. Oftentimes, we don't even think about how the stress hormones and how they're released when we're in these chronic stressful situations. So those are 3 things I want you to think about when it comes to your health: your nutrition, your movement, and your stress management. The thing that I'm going to lean into this morning, though, is your nutrition. Why? Because if you do all the movement and don't have good nutrition, you kind of like you're not really helping yourself. And if we're not having good nutrition, then it definitely impacts our mood for sure. So I just want to give y'all some practical things this morning, like what are some things if I'm struggling with high blood pressure, I'm struggling with like, it's pretty much, I do a lot of research with organizations that have vetted the work, you know. So when I share these stats with y'all, it is from either a research information that I've obtained where people, not animals, where people have actually gone through and um, have been a part of experiences to share like the outcomes. So when I give this general information, because I don't know your specific situation, I give you general information so that you can make some better decisions, I hope. When you're talking about high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, and carrying excess weight, I want you to think about 4 food groups that can help you, and you can make different recipes, different meal plans if you look at these 4 groups in a new way. That's your type in the comments. Give me one, because I know y'all know fruits. Very important to include fruits in your meals, in your lifestyle. Vegetables, beans slash legumes, and your grains. If you incorporate those 4, I didn't say processed food, I did not say dairy, and certainly did not say animal products. But if you're struggling in your health and you want to see a big difference within, say, 30 to 45 days, 60 days, if you eliminate dairy, increase your fresh fruits and vegetables, your beans, your legumes, your grains, and low oil, low to no oil. I am speaking from what one experience and just from the research. You can address those 4: high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, and excess weight if you make some dietary changes. So, this is what I want to share with y'all. A lot of people say, I don't know where to start. I encourage you to start with recognizing, you know what I'm doing is not working. Be honest with yourself. A lot of times we're not honest with ourselves. We want to, and I'm guilty. We want to do good for 3 days, 5 days, and then when Friday comes, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we just eating off the chain. And if we are serious, yes, thank you in the comments. Thank you for coming up in these comments over here. If we're serious about our health, if you're struggling, like when I say I get DMs every day with somebody saying they're struggling in their health, here is the key. Here's the key. Change your nutrition. And I know changing your nutrition is hard because people are in chronic stress situations. People around you are not changing. We eat out of emotion. I'm not feeling good. I had a bad day. I had a long day at work. Or if you just have a busy schedule, then it kind of gets pretty difficult. And that's why you don't need to try to do that alone. We'll talk about that later. But let me just give you a few different meals that you could try because I want to be practical. If you're just pulling up, I'm in a new location, a different location. I'm actually outside, as you can see, and we're talking about the fact that we want to stop blaming our genes. I'm Regina Lacken, the plant-based boss. I am the founder and principal consultant of Doing Life Well Integrative Health. What does that mean? I work with individuals and organizations to put their conditions in remission. Well, from an organization standpoint, you have a lot of absenteeism, low performance. People are sick. They have high blood pressure, need to take breaks. They're exhausted. They don't know how to manage their stress. So they're mistreating their employees. Then people leave. So I can help you work with your employees to address their health conditions so that they can show up better as individuals, not just as employees, but just show up better. I'm near the airport. And so, if you are an individual and you're struggling in your health, also not only do I work with organizations, but I also work in cohorts. I have a master class coming up July the 16th. Make sure you register for it. You're struggling in your health, let's get this work done. Let me just tell you all, if you are one not hydrating, I always encourage you to hydrate. But if you're not drinking water, WATR, if you're not drinking water, then your blood is often thicker. So that's why you encouraged and I'm promoting and advocating for your consumption of plain old water. Before you reach for your tea, I'm not saying don't drink your tea because I drink tea. Before you reach for your coffee, make sure you are properly hydrating. It sounds simple, but a lot of people are not properly hydrating. It causes your blood to thicken, your blood starts to clot. You have problems, period. That's just plain and simple. The other thing I want to talk with you about in terms of what can I do for my health today, look and see if you're getting 40 grams of fiber every day across the day in your meals. Fiber is so important to our nutrition. Fiber helps to clean out. It's like a sponge that pulls out cholesterol. It pulls out the unnecessary things. But if you're not getting enough fiber in, all the unnecessary things are staying inside your body. So we want to try to get 40 grams of fiber in your diet each day. Type it in the comments. If you're not getting any fiber, let's evaluate your nutrition to see are you getting 40 grams of fiber in. Number two, your protein. Are you hitting your protein markers? Protein is very important. I didn't say meat, I said protein is very important for our bodies to function properly. We need about, depending on how active you are, you need about 45 to 50 grams of protein. Men, 55 or so. Women, 45 to 50, depending on how active you are. So, even plant based, I get my protein. I don't get it from animal products, but I get my protein. So, if you're struggling in your health, don't run from carbs. I know a lot of people like to be on low carb diets. I was in communication with someone who posted they're not eating carbs this whole month. And I'm like, why aren't you eating carbs? Carbs is the body's preferred source of energy. So carbs like potatoes and your rice, they get a bad reputation. However, if we don't pack them with butter, if we don't pack them with all these things, then you're going to be fine. So if you're still with me, type these 5 foods in the comments that your heart absolutely loves. Here are 5 foods that your heart absolutely loves. Number one, and you can have this food at every meal. Number one, if you so choose. Number one is berries, particularly blueberries. They are high in antioxidants, which is very good for your heart. What can I do with berries in the morning, Regina? Well, I'm glad you asked. You can have a smoothie, or you can have you some berries along with some avocado toast. You have your little berries on the side. What else can I do with these berries, Regina? There are a number of things. You can make you a berry souffle. I have some recipes if you want. Well, matter of fact, if you message me after this live, I'm going to send you a Eat the Rainbow guide. So DM me. I have a special guide for you that I've created that helps you to how can I eat the rainbow for my chronic health conditions. I want to make sure you have that. So 5 foods that your heart absolutely loves. Number one, berries. Number two, leafy greens. I didn't say leafy greens with fat back. I said leafy greens. Your collards, your kale, your spinach, even broccoli. So if you like broccoli as a preferred source of greenery, eat your broccoli. The best green for you is the one that you're willing to eat. The best green for you is the one that you're willing to eat. If I list off asparagus and you don't eat asparagus, that's no good for you. So whatever green, preferably leafy green, but if you don't prefer leafy greens, then if you like asparagus, eat asparagus. If you like broccoli, eat broccoli. The whole idea is to have green on your plate every day. So if you want to know who the king of protein, number 3, your beans. Beans are high in protein and they also have your fiber. I mentioned fiber earlier. We want to make sure we're getting at least 30 to 40 grams of fiber every single day. So 5 foods that your heart loves. If you have heart issues, diabetes, or if you have high cholesterol, these foods are willing to help you if you're willing to eat them. Your berries. Blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, any of those berries. You don't have to eat all three. Eat the one that you prefer. Leafy greens, number two. Number three are your beans, your legumes. Those are your black beans, your pinto beans, your white beans, your kidney beans. There are so many bean varieties that you can have. Um, Number four are your oats, like your grains, like your oats, oatmeal, overnight oats. There are a lot of things that you can do with oats. Matter of fact, I was sent a recipe where you can actually make tortillas out of oats, chia seeds, and a little water. Huh? I just gave you a wrap recipe. And then walnuts. Let me say this about walnuts or any nuts. Nuts are good for you. They're actually good for your long-term brain health as well. But nuts are a good source of fat. You don't have to run from fat in your diet. You do have to make sure you're doing a serving size and not the server size, like two or three, one for me and one for the server. No, do a serving size. Those are five foods that your heart absolutely loves. If you figure out how to get those five foods in your meals every day, your heart is going to thank you. Your heart is going to thank you. Let me say this. I know that, and I was that way as well. I know that oftentimes it's hard to give up things, particularly dairy. People love cheese. People just love cheese. I'm gonna say that again. People love cheese. I want to educate you in case you did not know. Direct dairy, particularly cheese, but dairy products are loaded in saturated fat. Type that in the comments if you're still with me. Dairy products are loaded with saturated fat. Saturated fat contributes to heart disease. So when you look at people that you know and or love who've had heart attacks, and you look at their dietary regimen for years, not just yesterday, for years, then we can see a common denominator. But dairy has a direct connection to cardiovascular events. Saturated fat is one of the number one sources of cardiac conditions. So if you remove dairy, you remove saturated fats. Number two, cholesterol. If you're struggling in your cholesterol, I want you to hear this. Cholesterol is only found in animal products. If you want to lower your cholesterol, get rid of animal products. If you want to lower your cholesterol today, get rid of animal products. Cholesterol is only found in animal products. And then number three, I talked about fiber already. Fiber, which we need every day, about 40 grams, fiber is only found in plants. You have cholesterol, in case you did not know, is only found in animal products. Fiber is only found in plants. Fiber is the ultimate tool for sweeping excess cholesterol that you don't need out of the body. Are you still with me? So if you want to lower your cholesterol, get rid of the animal products. Plain and simple, because cholesterol is only found in animal products. If you are struggling in that way, make sure you pull up for my masterclass on July the 16th. Stop blaming your genes. I'm going to break that down and give you so much more information, practical tools, and support that you need. It's hard to navigate this life alone. I get it. I understand it. I have a support system, and so I'm able to move through these hard times and tough decisions because I have a good support system. Let me give y'all a couple of meals that you can try on today. Hey, thank you for pulling up. I've been looking for you. I've not seen you on my lives in a while. Thank you for pulling up from the Mississippi Gulf Coast. So, here are a couple of meals that I want you to, play around with because again, this conversation is about the fact that we're going to stop blaming our genes and take responsibility because if it's preventable, then it's reversible. You need a little help, and that's what I'm here for. More than a 90-second reel on Instagram or on Facebook, here is where we do the work. When you leave this live, I want you to go back and evaluate your nutrition. Because if you want to reduce your blood pressure, if you want to reduce your cholesterol markers, if you want to reduce the weight that you're carrying, there is action that is required. Your nutrition has to change. It just has to change, y'all. Y'all know that. So here are a few things. Here are a couple of my favorites, and you can just play around with it, okay? So for let's start with your first meal of the day. People like to say breakfast. That is true. You're breaking a fast. Now put that together. Breakfast. You slept all night, most people, but some people work overnight. But when you first wake up, you're breaking your fast. What can I have for breakfast? Let's make it easy. You can have a smoothie. You drop your berries in there, your leafy greens that we talked about. You can even put a scoop of oats and then a handful of walnuts or a tablespoon of flax seeds. I just gave you a smoothie for the day, and use some oat milk, some hemp milk, some almond milk, some soy milk, some silk milk. I think I named about 5 different kinds of milks that you can use instead of cow's milk. Why do we not want cow's milk? Cow's milk is dairy. What did I say about dairy? Dairy leads to cardiovascular issue. Dairy, animal products do not make the bone strong. Trust but verify. You can trust what I'm saying, but you can also verify. It does not make your bones strong. If that were the case, then we wouldn't have an alarming rate of osteoporosis, right? And so here is some information that I want you to use. Breakfast, try you a smoothie. If you're not a cold food person, you may want to try some oats, oatmeal, overnight oats. I like to meal prep. I meal prep with overnight oats, like 3 or 4 ingredients. That is a half a cup of oats, a half a cup of oat milk or silk milk, whatever kind of milk that I'm going to use. I'm going to have my berries, or sometimes I use a little banana, half of a banana, but berries are what you want, right? Blueberries, strawberries, you want to include that in your smoothie for that morning or for your smoothie. And you can add a tablespoon of chia seeds. So you can either use that for your breakfast, you can use that for a snack, honey, you can use that for a dessert. Make sure you're getting those berries in. Of the 5 foods that your body loves, a smoothie, you can have berries, your leafy greens, your oats, and your walnuts. And if you're feeling adventurous, you may even want to put a few beans in there and let your heart really settle into that. So that's one idea for a meal. What can I do? You can have a smoothie, or you can have overnight oats, or just good old fashioned oatmeal. But watch what you're putting in that oatmeal. Maybe you want to use some cinnamon instead of table sugar. And then another thing that you can have for breaking your fast, consider doing like a scramble. Instead of scrambled eggs, make your breakfast scramble. Again, we're going to come back to those leafy greens. You can have, I usually use spinach, I use colored peppers, and then I also put black beans in mine because black beans are supreme when it comes to your protein. Hey, how about that? So those are 3 different meal ideas that you can start breaking your fast with. A lot of people say breakfast. Breakfast for your first meal. For lunch, let me give you some ideas for that are heart healthy for your lunch or for your second meal of the day. Some people only eat 2 meals. So whether it's lunch or whether it's dinner, here are some ideas for you. Practical. When I named this live, I said, stop blaming your genes. Let's be practical. So here are some practical meals that you can try. I'm going to call it a bowl, a protein bowl or a grain bowl, but this is what I want you to think about. You want to have either brown rice, white. If all you've eaten all your life is white rice, let's try some brown rice. If you've been eating brown rice and you want a new try, let's try eating some quinoa. Okay, those are grains. So in this bowl that we're gonna have for lunch, we're being practical today. We want to have a fourth of cup, or serving size. I don't have those packages in front of me, so make sure we're having a serving size. You're gonna have your quinoa or your grain, whatever grain that you choose, steamed broccoli, or you may want to use spinach. So whatever green that you decide, you may want to have spinach, you may want to have asparagus, you may want to have kale. So we're going to start out with our grains. We're going to have our steamed broccoli. And here's the one that I like to talk about that people often run from, and that's your potato, your sweet potato. Dice up your sweet potato. So you're going to have your serving size of your sweet potato. If you want black beans in there or chickpeas in there, then there is your protein. So that is your bowl, right? Or take a sweet potato or a regular potato, a white potato, mashed potato, whatever depending on where you are, you say different things. But you take a potato, you bake that potato, or you can even put it in the microwave if you want to, if you don't have that kind of time. We're being practical around here. You take that baked potato, and this is what I want you to do. You have your black beans, stuff your baked potato with black beans, corn, salsa, a little avocado slices. You still have a full meal right there. I didn't say put cheese on it. You can have a full meal with a baked potato and add you a little greenery in it, like cut up you some little spinach, some cilantro. So put that on there. And so those are two different meal ideas from those very same ingredients. We want to be high fiber, low fat. High fiber, low fat, no dairy. High fiber, low fat, no dairy. And so I keep sharing that because dairy is the number one source of saturated fat in the American diet. Saturated fat leads to cardiovascular events. Got it? Got it. All right. So I'm gonna give you one more idea for a meal using that same quinoa, using them same black beans, using them same corn, your spinach, and that is you can stuff a bell pepper if you like bell pepper. So I've given you three different ideas. You can stuff a baked potato with black beans, a little spinach, or if you want asparagus, whatever green you want in there. You got your black beans, you got your corn in there. We can put whatever. Matter of fact, put whatever vegetable you want in there, but make sure you're eating the rainbow. And so you can take those same ideas for the quinoa bowl, the baked potato, and swap that out for lunch, or you can have that for dinner. Has this conversation been helpful this morning? Drop in the comments. If you're struggling in your health and you're like, what can I do right now today? Right now, today, you can evaluate your nutrition. We talked about 5 foods that your heart absolutely loves. So whether you have high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, or if you're carrying excess weight, there are 5 foods that your heart absolutely loves. If your heart loves it, then give it a try. We talked about berries. We talked about leafy greens. We talked about your oats. And we talked about walnuts. In case you did not know, if you don't eat walnuts, start eating you about a serving size every day because it's good for long-term cognitive health. I'll attach the research article to you if you're interested. I don't want to give you something that you don't want. Also, I just gave you different ideas of how you can change what you're eating. This is the takeaway message. Stop blaming your genes. It's not your grandmama. It's not your granddad. It's not even your mom and your daddy. At this point in time, it is the decisions that we make. Now, if you have small children who are under your roof and you're buying all those things, then it is your mom and your dad that's causing these problems. Because let me just share this alarming stat with you. Back in the 1990s, pre-diabetes for teens was around 12%. We're hovering over 28% now. So if we don't change what we're giving our children, then when they become adults, then they're going to be struggling with these same health conditions. If you take away nothing from this message today, I'm inviting you to a high fiber, which means I'm inviting you to about 30 to 40 grams of fiber in your diet every single day. If you don't know how to get fiber in your diet, DM me. No, you don't. Show up in my masterclass on July the 16th, where we're talking about stop blaming your genes, how to recover the irrecoverable. The conversation is really going to be breaking down how can I live this sustainable life? How can I live this sustainable life? I get literally, literally, literally so many text messages, DM messages, excuse me, about how people are struggling in their health. And the answer may be simple, but doing the work when you're stressed out, when you're ripping and running, you're not thinking about your health all the time. So this is your invitation to pause on this Figured Out Friday so you can stop trying to figure that thing out alone. Here's my takeaway message for you. If you have high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, or if you're carrying excess weight, three habits that matter. Number one, your nutrition matters, movement matters, stress management matters. But today, I really leaned into the nutrition part. What can you do? What can you do today to improve your health markers? If you give yourself 30 to 45 days, 60 days, 30 days to try it, 30 days to try a dairy free life. Matter of fact, let's be all in August. I'm doing a challenge right now. So we're going to do all in August. And I'm going to invite you to join me with a 30-day challenge of no oil, SOS. And then we're going to be all in plant based for 30 days so we can check these markers again. But here's a takeaway message. Dairy, if you can eliminate dairy from your diet, you're going to eliminate saturated fat. If you choose not to eliminate dairy from your diet, make sure you're looking at your ingredients and checking what's in there. I want you to know that saturated fat is the leading cause of cardiovascular events, okay? I want you to know that. So if you're going to continue to eat dairy, then you're increasing your risk for a cardiovascular event. I want you to be informed. I don't want you to just get these snippets and these sound bites about what sounds good. I want you to have good information so that you can make good decisions. Number two, if you're struggling in your health with high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, or if you're carrying excess weight that you don't want, another factor is cholesterol. Cholesterol is only found in animal products. I'm going to repeat that again. Cholesterol is only found in animal products. If you have high cholesterol, you can lower your cholesterol today and see results within 2 to 3 weeks if you eliminate cholesterol from your diet. It's only found in animal products. And then number three, fiber. Increase your fiber intake. Increase your fiber intake. We need about 40 grams of fiber a day. Why do I need fiber? It is the ultimate tool for eliminating cholesterol out of your body if you're not going to stop eating cholesterol. Again, cholesterol is only found in animal products. So if you're like me and you want to lower your cholesterol, because I was borderline high cholesterol, I'm still in a cholesterol battle, right? And so you have to work intentionally around that, okay? So cholesterol only found in animal products. Fiber only found in plant products. Go figure. So, incorporating these five foods before I get out of here, I want you to know this. Incorporating these five foods in your daily regimen will help you on your health journey. Incorporating berries, whether they're strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, incorporating berries every day, having your green leafy vegetables, beans, oats, and walnuts. Those are five foods that your heart loves. I hope this conversation has been helpful to you. I'm in a new venue. I'm outside. I'm traveling, so I decided to come outside this morning to do my live. But we started out this conversation. I gave you some statistics. And if you saw my little 90-second reel, like, don't get caught up in sound bites, y'all. Sit down and let's do some real work. I want to invite you as I close out this morning. I want to invite you, if you are struggling in your health, I mean struggling, you just you having a hard time, and the people around you are not as supportive, They think they are. They go buy you something to eat, but they bring you back fried chicken. It's fried. They bring you back fried fish. They bring you back the burger with the cheese on it. That is not helping you. I want to invite you to my upcoming masterclass, July the 16th. That's next Thursday. Head over to my website, support me, and support your health. If any of my content has ever helped you, I'm just asking you now to help yourself. Be in the room for my upcoming masterclass titled Stop Blaming Your Genes, Recovering the Recoverable. I've helped hundreds of people recover the recoverable. And so here's your opportunity to be in the room. It's only 90 minutes. You're going to walk away with some practical strategies, an actual workbook that you'll hold on to. But here's the situation: over 800,000 people in the United States die of a cardiac, or I'm going to say die, Lord, forgive me. But over 800 and something thousand people have a cardiac event, such as a heart attack, such as a stroke. Of that 805,000, this is research I did as of yesterday, over 200 plus thousand people, that is their second, not first heart attack, not first cardiac event, that is the second cardiac event. So something didn't change in their life. From a personal perspective, I'll bring it all the way home. I've had relatives who've had multiple strokes and heart attacks. You can provide people with information, but at the end of the day, those decisions are up to you. So I'm inviting you to come get this information so that you can change your situation. If it's preventable, then it's reversible. Y'all drop in the comments if this conversation has been helpful at all. At all. In the United States, every 40 seconds, someone has a heart attack. Right? Annually, over 225,000 people die within 1 hour of having a heart attack. They don't even make it to the hospital. We can change that. If you're struggling in your health, you don't have to struggle alone. It's Figured Out Friday with your girl, Regina, the plant-based boss. I'm inviting you to be more responsible for your health, and you don't have to do it alone. I'm willing to, and I'm available. Pull up in my masterclass next week. Head over to my website. The link is also in my bio, but my website is www.reginalllacking.com. Go to the events tab. You're going to see 3 events out there. One is the fact that I'm here every Friday, 6 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time, YouTube, LinkedIn, as well as Facebook. But then also, there's an invitation for you to grab your tickets for my upcoming masterclass. We'd love to have you in the room. We'd love to have you in the space so that you can walk away with tools that you can use to put your condition in remission. It's been a blast. It's been a ball educating you all. I'm glad to be here. If you message me, I'm going to send you a document of how do you eat the rainbow. How do you eat the rainbow? When you eat the rainbow, you help your cardiovascular health. Thank y'all so much for pulling up. Share this live out with your relatives, with friends and family who you know are struggling in their health and they need to make some decisions. If you just logged on, I gave some meal ideas for breakfast and I gave some meal ideas that you can use for lunch or dinner to help you to put your condition in remission. Our goal is high fiber, low fat. All right. Hope this conversation, again, I hope this has been helpful. I am traveling and I'm outdoors, so it's been a pleasure to have this conversation with you all. It's kind of nice out here. But if you do nothing else, I want you to make a decision when it comes to your health. If not me, there are hundreds of people willing to walk alongside you. You do not, I repeat, you do not have to journey alone when it comes to starting to shift your health. I'm going to leave you with this. I pray that you will prosper and be in good health, even as your soul shall prosper. To be in good health. To be in good health. I will talk with y'all later. Have a beautiful weekend. You know how to contact me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or head over to my website, Feel free to book a call with me for more information. If you and your family want to have an intervention, I'm happy to work with family groups, spouses, husband, and wives so that we can get on be in community in our household when it comes to making these health changes. Your church group, your organization, and you as an individual. All right, y'all. Have the most amazing weekend. If you do nothing else, do this one thing for me. Decide how you're going to pull up for yourself and recover the recoverable because truly your health is recoverable. I will talk to you all later. Thank you so much for being here and share this live out. Be sure to comment when I post it and share. Have a good week.